Good evening and welcome to our business news, where we'll be taking a look at the iconic Trident Park building in Imriel, a building that's been nominated for many prestigious awards. Thank you very much, Mr. Farrugia. What's your role within the company?
Well, today my role is of Deputy CEO of the beverage business. So I've been in that role for almost a year today, but I've been with the company for up to 17 years now. So I've been around the business, I've covered many different areas and departments, but today obviously I have broader roles and responsibilities.
What has been your involvement in this project?
I've been very involved with this project from the outset, back in 2009. So it's been a 13-year journey essentially. Right from the moment we were brainstorming, coming up with ideas, thinking about what we would do with the building, right up to implementation and completion. So it's been a project that's been very intensive and been particularly close to my heart as well.
Now that it's complete, how do you feel?
Very, very relieved and happy, I have to say, because it's been a roller coaster of a journey, been very intensive, very complex, very challenging, had a lot of low points, had a lot of high points as well. So obviously now seeing it complete and seeing the place being inhabited, tenants coming on board, us filling up the spaces and seeing the spaces being used is incredibly rewarding and satisfying, yes.
How did your staff, your existing staff, react to their new environment?
I think everyone's been very, very excited, pleased, happy and proud as well to see what we've done with the building, because particularly those people who used to work in the building here. A lot of the people who used to work in the building were actually part of the project team and helped us do a lot of the restoration and regeneration work. So it's a project that's been very close to the Farsons family and to the Farsons employees and to the Farsons company. So anyone who knows the building, has been part of the company, comes here and I think rightly feels very proud to be part of it. And then obviously there is all the community and all the third parties and all the new tenants who come in and now feel a part of the spaces. So I think there's a very good atmosphere that this place has created. And I think anyone who comes here feels generally feels that they're not necessarily in Malta. It feels very international in feel as well. And that was something we wanted to achieve.
I mean, the building has always been iconic. How important do you think that we should preserve our old buildings in Malta rather than knock them down and build up new blocks of flats, etc.?
I mean, to us, this was a very special building. I mean, it's a listed building as well, but we welcomed the listing, we embraced that, because it never even crossed our minds that we could potentially drop this building because it was so closely tied to our heritage, to our brands, to our beverage business. So I think the idea of preserving particularly industrial heritage, because this is an industrial building, is something that we feel very strongly about. We organised a lot of conferences with universities as well very early on in this project to highlight the awareness and the importance of industrial heritage and what it means to the community and to the country. So this project for us was obviously a chance for us to talk about and celebrate our industrial heritage, to celebrate our brewing credentials and to open it up to the building and create a lot of awareness around the importance of preserving our buildings. And definitely, I mean, we feel very strongly about that and would hopefully inspire other people to do the same.
The company focuses on sustainable environment. How important was it when you were starting up the planning of this project?
It was fundamental. It was core to our philosophy right from the outset. So when we decided to choose the architect, that was one of the key parameters that we were looking for in our architects. So I think having a sustainable environment is something that we wanted to set out right from the outset. And you can see it being implemented in our cooling systems, for instance, which is a very innovative cooling system within Trident, which is very sustainable in the sense that it's not traditional VRF systems, and that's a first here in Malta. And we got very good engineers, international engineers, sustainability engineers to help us through that whole process, because it was some big risks we took on that front. And then we generally wanted to create a very pleasant environment by not developing every square meter that we had available. So we opened up, we created a lot of open spaces, we created a lot of gardens, we gave a lot of importance to landscaping, we gave a lot of importance to light, to balconies, and walkways. It was something that we knew the market lacked, something that we knew consumers and tenants were looking for. So our whole thinking was framed around that.
You spoke about giving life to an old building, but when you look at the bigger picture, you've given life to the whole area. I mean, this was, if I can say, quite a rough area before.
Yes, as we briefly...
And I can see new buildings, new developments, older houses being freshened up.
Absolutely. I mean, we knew we had an opportunity to regenerate not just the building itself, but also the wider area and the community. So it's a large project. It obviously covers quite a substantial square meterage. And it's right on the road. So we knew that whatever we did here would have a big impact on the surrounding built environment. We obviously also knew that we couldn't create a world-class destination and have the area in the neglected state that it was in previously. So we did spend some time courting and working with government to create the public-private partnership, the foundation that we have today, and trying to sell the vision that Imre had needed to be upgraded. And that proposal was taken up, embraced by government and the companies within the area. And it's contributed to a regeneration of Imre essentially, and a revamping, and a lot of investment has gone into better lighting, better infrastructure, better waste disposal right across the board. And that has also created more investment, attracted more investment from other companies, and the general area has upgraded substantially over the last 10 years. And I think made it a much more attractive business destination.
Now that the building's complete, what are your challenges to run such a building?
Yeah, there's a totally different set of challenges now. Previously, it was all about implementation. There was a lot of project management, working with a lot of different contractors. We had a multitude of different contractors working on site, all at the same time. So you can imagine the coordination, the management of all that, particularly during COVID, was a very challenging. Was very challenging. Now today, it's all about running the operation. So we've had to build up a team, and a lot of those team members who are part of the project team are now part of the operational team. And we're obviously having to, now work with all our customers, with our tenants who are working on site. We now have food and beverage amenities that are working. We have trying to sell the spaces for events, and we have multitude of events already within the last year, because we have a whole swath of different spaces, unique spaces for events. And embracing and welcoming the community to create a fantastic experience every time they come and visit. So yes, we're in operational mode, and we're managing the site now. So it's a very different set of challenges, but I would say this is possibly less challenging, although it is very challenging, than the challenge of implementing such a complex site, because that was very intensive.
Tell me something about this room we're sitting in. It's very interesting. It has a lot of beautiful features. And do you have a favorite room or area in this building?
Well, the jewel in any brew house is the brew hall itself. So beneath us is the brew hall. And that's where the beautiful coppers have been completely restored and regenerated. So you can't visit any brew house without seeing the brew hall. And we've got some 3, 4, 5 magnificent copper vessels down below, which used to brew all our beer from right 1950 up to 2012. So the brew hall has to be top, but there are so many different spaces and so many different areas which I love. I love this room, the Redler room, which is basically an old conveyor which used to feed the malt from the mill above our heads to the coppers down below. So every floor we've retained the big industrial pieces, we've restored them. So you can literally tell and follow the process of brewing by going through each and every floor of this building. So it's a story in itself. Mm-hmm. And that was very much part and core to the regeneration of this building, so that people could appreciate, you know, why this building was built in this way, how brewing is done, and to obviously, you know, celebrate beer and beverages in general. So, yeah, I think there are a lot of special places within this building.
What reaction did you get globally about this building?
Well, we've had fantastic feedback, I have to say, from anyone who visits the building. Finds it very different to anything else on the island, is really quite surprised and pleasantly surprised to discover, you know, all that happens on each and every floor. We've had all our principals, our global companies, our breweries coming to visit the site, and they too are very impressed, because, you know, a lot of these other global breweries are doing things that we are doing here. We emulated them and we were inspired by a lot of things that they were doing, but I think generally the standard and the level of quality is second to none. We put a lot of emphasis on quality, and that's why we chose a world-renowned architect, because we wanted to create a quality redevelopment, because we wanted to also respect the original building. When this was built back in the 1950s, it was a quality, second to none building for its time. It had best-in-class technology, British technology, brewing equipment. It was built on an unparalleled scale. It had a big, bold vision. So we really were inspired by that.
Thank you very much for watching our business news today. Our broadcast was held at the prestigious Trident Park building in Imrieħel, a building that has been nominated for many prestigious awards. Should you have any comments or queries, please send them to the number that appears on the screen. I'm Leah Hogg for Net TV.